The regular Moose Lake City Council meeting for October 7th, 2017. And I'd like to start with a pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First item is the agenda. We have one addition under 5D. This is the road priority list. And also, after number 6, new business, you'll see a paragraph. The City of Moose Lake Council will close the meeting to the public under State Statute 13D.05. We will do that actually after number 9. We'll complete reports, correspondence, committee and board meetings. We'll go through announcements. Then we'll actually close the meeting at that point, and we'll go up to the conference room, and Rory can then tear this down and put stuff away. And we'll adjourn from the conference room, just for everyone's information. With that, any other additions or changes to the agenda? Hearing none, do we have a motion to accept the agenda?
So move.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Under consent agenda number 2A1, September 13th, 2017 City Council meeting minutes. Any discussion or questions? Hearing none, do we have a motion to accept?
I so move that we accept the minutes as written.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Under consent agenda 2B, this is the financial reports. Number 1 is the city accounts payable for October 2017. Number 2 is the city financial statements for September 2017. Number 3 is the liquor store profit and loss statement for September 2017. Any questions or discussion for the financial reports?
Only thing is, Mr. Mayor, is if, under discussion, if our city works director will talk about the dehumidifier that was installed. I take it he's already going to. Is that $19,000?
That's at the arena.
Was that the arena?
And
Okay,
if you want me to talk about that,
Yeah, if you would, just
that's
so-
part of that Mighty Ducks grant.
Yes. I just wanted it to be brought to people's attention that it
Yep.
was installed.
And that was for the exact dollar amount as the original bid, and was part of the Mighty Ducks grant that we applied for the arena.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions or discussion? Hearing none, do we have a motion to accept the consent agenda financial reports?
So, second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We have number 3 is a public comment time. This time is reserved for comments from the public on matters not listed on the agenda. Please keep your comments to 3 minutes. Hearing none, we'll move on then to number 4, which is departmental reports. Number 4A is the police chief. Department report September 9th through October 6th, 2017.
Council, Mr. Mayor. Again, another busy month, a lot of activities still going on in town. We had a couple of large events at the hockey arena that went very well. We had over 150 ATV people in town for a convention, and they went out and rode on our local trails, and just a lot of real positive comments from the ATV riders on just how nice the trails were and how nice the facility was down at the arena. So We also had the Oktoberfest celebration at the hockey arena and outside the hockey arena. There's a lot of people there. They're playing games, having a good time. No issues whatsoever there. We assisted the Cub Scouts on a Sunday afternoon for the second annual Pine Box Derby. With the help of Phil's crew, we shut off part of Lakeshore Drive, kind of by Knollwood and the prison, and they were able to race their Pine Box Derbies down the hill. It was neat. I think there's six different contestants, so we helped them by running radar and just blocking traffic, so it was kind of a neat event. Other than that, just usual calls. Just another busy month, so.
What was the highest speed on the radar?
17 miles an hour.
Holy cow.
Pretty fast.
Okay.
So,
Great.
all right.
Looks like you had 159 calls that you listed, and
Yeah.
usually there's more, so
Yeah,
appreciate your work.
Forgot to mention that we have been monitoring the traffic up at the elementary and or the high school, and it seems to be moving along decently. They're just finishing up the turning lanes, so I think that'll help a lot. Roundabout, we have had some issues with people being confused on how to use it. We've had to educate some people, I guess I could say. But for the most part, it's been working well. So
And no, it does not need to be rebuilt. It is the correct size.
it is the correct size. I see they got the lines painted now in most of the areas south and north of town. So yeah, hopefully the construction's coming to an end. It's coming along. They're tying everything together. So.
Mr. Mayor, can I make a
Yes.
comment? I was wondering if there would be any opportunity for you to go speak to, say, the high schoolers. I get off work at the same time school lets out, and it appears that the kids really don't know how to use that in yield and, use your blinkers. It's kind of a continuous.
The roundabout, you mean?
Yes,
Or, okay.
yes, because it's kind of continuous from the school, and everybody else is backing up because they just kind of tailgate each other around there. So I don't know if there'd be an opportunity to speak at the school just to kind of educate the kids of how that should be used and
Sure.
etiquette and blinkers and,
Yep. I can certainly do that.
okay,
So I can talk to the superintendent and set up a time.
okay, thank you.
So, Greg?
Is that speed limit going to stay at 25, or are they going to lower it?
They're doing a study right now. Yeah.
Through the roundabout, it will stay that way. They will do a study on from the bridge to the roundabout, and from the roundabout to the bridge over the
My
lake.
experience in other places where I've went through them and stuff like that, it's very seldom over 20 miles an hour.
I thought it was 15, but
That's what they were advertising
Yeah.
at first.
I can ask him about that at our weekly meeting as well. But I thought that they told us it was going to be 15.
That was my understanding. It may just be the construction zone before and after it or 25. I don't know. I'll take a look at it tomorrow, but, yeah. All right,
Good, thank you.
thank you.
4C, Public Works Superintendent Report.
Right,
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, under the water department, your distribution system distributed 3.7 million gallons of drinking water in the month of September. The hydrants are all flushed, ready for winter, anti-freezed. Everything is good there. Sewer department collected 13 million gallons of wastewater. We treated and discharged 39 million gallons of wastewater in our September discharge at the pond site. Our maintenance program is underway. We've got about 50% of it left to do. There's about 5,500 feet of 8-inch pipe yet to clean. The grinder at the bridge lift station was replaced, was rebuilt and put back in service. Just a couple of things here. The water repairs on 5th and Arrowhead were done 2 weeks ago after the lane switch was done on Arrowhead, and that's all done and complete and good now. And then The hydrant on 3rd Street was also removed, taken out of service, which was inoperable anyway. So, and there's a hydrant within 40 feet, and I talked to police chief, or the fire chief, and everything was fine with that. So, and then one other thing, next week, Wednesday the 18th, Minnesota Rural Water is actually coming to Moose Lake to put on a session for wastewater guys. They're actually going to tour your pond site and take a look at it, and there's been a lot of people talking about the new phosphorus removal plan that we're doing and how it's working and how it's really making the city of Moose Lake meet their effluent limits. So it's really doing a good job, and it's going to be a good thing for us to kind of shine in a good way with Minnesota Rural Water and the PCA. So it'll be good.
Quick question, Phil.
Yep.
Can you tell if there's any difference in our INI after the summer with all the stuff that's done?
There's a huge difference.
Good.
Last week we got that 4 inches of rain. Up until then, we have not had a 1 million gallon influent take, meaning for the whole day we take in X amount of gallons. That's your influent for the day. We have not had a 1 million gallon day since that day up until all summer. We would average about an inch of rain would get us over 1 million gallons. So we had 15 to 20 days out of the year, our influent take was over 1 million. So our INI, everything we've done down at the lift station, the pipe under the creek going into the public works garage, the replacement there has made a huge difference. So
Great.
ECA should be very happy with us.
Good. Good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Up more dirt.
City engineer, local road improvement projects?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, Kenwood, the bituminous base is placed. Bituminous wear, they're planning on next week, Thursday, to put that down. Currently, they're just dressing up on the outside of the pavement in the right-of-way. I think by the end of the week, it should look pretty good out there, other than the wear has to go down yet. 3rd Street, if you look out there, all the underground piping got put in. They're still waiting on one structure to complete it, but they plan on putting the curb and gutter down on 3rd Street on Friday, if it doesn't rain. Once the curb and gutter goes in out there, things will go really fast. And they're planning on paving Wednesday or Thursday next week, the base, and following up and having it done like by Friday next week with the wear. So sidewalks will be going in concurrently with the curb and gutter. So it'll look really good in another week. So last month I told you I'll come back in a month and things will look better, and I think they do. So they look a whole lot better than last Tuesday when I was up. So
When they're going to pave, can you guys stop in, I can't remember her name.
Jen?
Jen stopped in and told us that they were going to close, so we were able to go tell businesses that the Third and Elm intersection was going to close. Can you come tell us a day or two, preferably 2 days before they're going to pave, so we can go tell the businesses again?
She already told me she was going to do that.
Perfect.
So she said she came up last Friday and told you that it would be Tuesday.
And it worked really good, so.
She'll be back to see you and Katie, so.
Excellent, thank you.
I do have one question.
Oh, yeah.
On Kenwood, at the nursing home, was that Augustana's request to have their parking lot closed, or was it the contractors, or their parking lot into the nursing home?
We just talked about that, and their parking lot is going to get redone, and I think we thought they were going to have it worked on right now, but we're going to build a temporary entrance on that north end so that cars can get in there and get up to the parking lot and use it until Kaminsky comes and tears it out. So, but we'll do that tomorrow.
Okay.
I didn't know that was happening.
Okay, well, I didn't know if it was the contractor or if it's actually Augustana that requested.
If they weren't if I didn't know they were redoing their parking lot, we would have had a temporary access in there now. I think it's just Northland didn't do anything, and we didn't tell them to do anything because we thought Kaminsky would be in there ready to do the parking lot. Okay. So it's just a communication. Okay. And I already texted Jen, and she's going to have it put in tomorrow. So.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Very nice.
And number D, the Chamber of Commerce updates. Thanks, Lois.
Yeah, things have quieted down quite a bit, as you know, but we got a chamber board meeting tomorrow at the Squirrel Cage at noon in Willow River, and Friday is the drawing of the chamber raffle. That's going to be at the golf club at 6:30. Any questions?
Thank you very much. Moving on to number 5, previously discussed business, 5A arena project updates. I heard Tim gave part of it.
Yeah, the dehumidifier we have now ran a couple times. It's working very well. I believe we are, what did he say, November 1st?
Yeah.
November 1st, the new Olympia ice resurfacer will be here, and then we're done for the year. The garden section went in along the south side of the building, along with wood chips and all those things. Really makes it look nice. It'll look even better next year when those things get a little bit bigger, but it looks really good down there.
I believe the ice is going in right now.
It is.
Yeah. So it'll be ready next week, I think the 15th.
Sunday, it'll be ready.
Yeah.
Practice starts.
On 5B, Highway 73 updates, I don't know if we need any more than that we've had.
Other than, as of right now, we are planning on a grand opening either the 25th or the 26th. The 25th is the day that we said that we would prefer. I would ask any of you that are interested to let me know. I can just post that you guys are all going to be there, and there won't be an agenda or anything, but I can just post it so as many of you can be there as want. We'll probably do it in the afternoon at some time. We'll have a ribbon cutting down at the intersection by the bank. The project should be wrapped up basically that day. So we got about a week and a half, 2 weeks to go.
Very good. 5C, Moose Lake City / Township Consolidation.
There's an email and then 2 letters from the township that are in your packets, along with the letter to the editor that I wrote as well about this topic. The township declined our request and Northland's request for their budget and their last 2 years worth of financial information in order to do a study on tax rates. If we were to consolidate, their letters are worded a little bit differently. I think the email probably explains it the best, and that is that they stated that they believe that there are members not wanting to share the information as they are against annexation at this time, which pretty much sums that up. The good news is that we can go to the state's website and pull their financials off of there, and we'll do the study anyways. So it's a little bit more work than them just handing them over, but we'll move forward with the study anyways.
Any questions? Thank you. Under 5D, road priority list. That's part of the handout?
Yes, sorry, there's a handout on your desk, the colored road section, or road map.
I had just asked that, if I may, I just asked that this be disseminated to everybody so we can be looking at, since we do have a sales tax now, and the work was done by Phil and our engineers a couple of years ago, and we were going through our study for the city to look at what are the roads? I think we all know that roads need to be done and replaced and repaired. So this is the list that was compiled. It's in everyone should have a copy here, hopefully. And it's a list that we can continue to look at and see if things have changed. And I think that we already looked at 3rd Street is already going to be one that's yellow. It's a high priority that's being done. And then we already have Kenwood that's being done. So two of those on the list are already being handled. But I think people want to know where their money's going to be going for this sales tax. And this is a list that we're working on. So you can take a look at that.
The entrance to John Brown Drive is that Talbot or John Brown Drive?
Yep.
John Brown? The entrance to John Brown off of 73 was included as yellow in here, and working with the state, we were able to get that one done as well. So we had a good year this year, but I think the point is to keep this in our mind and keep trying to check off the roads that we know need to get done. So,
Thank you.
Any other questions, discussion? Probably sometime we should do, well, I don't know if there's time now, but in the spring do a update.
I think the spring would be, how long ago was this one done, you think? 5 years?
That was, I didn't even make this. This was when Spencer was still here. I was going
It was a couple years ago.
So it was at least
Yeah.
2 years ago, yeah.
3 now?
3?
I could just put a note down to update that as well, so.
Yeah, I think come springtime.
Yeah.
Lake Shore is on there, and that's been redone.
Okay.
I'll update it tomorrow.
Thank you. Moving on to 6 new business, 6A Moose Tech update, number A land lease.
I think when Water and Light, maybe Mike, you can talk about it a little bit as well, but Moose Tech, just the wireless portion of it, not the fiber network, is looking at being purchased by another company. As a part of that sale, they will need to have a lease with the city because there's an antenna on the water tower and an antenna on the Water and Light building. So the city council will need to approve the sale. When that is all finalized, we will also need to approve a land lease to this company to perform maintenance and install equipment and update equipment and all of that. So this lease lays out how that would work, basically. We've gone back and forth with them quite a few times. I think this is as good as we're going to get the first round. Our attorneys reviewed it as well, and made it quite a bit longer. But they have reviewed it and have their input in here as well.
Mike, do you have any input from commission?
No, I'm just feeling comfortable with this. People are going to be provided with the service. Our equipment is getting quite old. It would be quite a few $1 million to upgrade, and of course, then we probably wouldn't be affordable for people. So this is a good thing.
Do we have any dates on when transaction will start happening?
No idea. That'd be up to Tim more what.
I would say that very soon is about the best way to put it. If we can agree to this, at the very least, they can start working on their equipment.
So the commission will be making that decision.
The commission has a few things to work out with. Whether or not the commission purchases bandwidth and then sells that to this company to provide their service, or whether or not the commission has their own bandwidth and this company has their own bandwidth. That's one thing that still needs to be addressed. I think the purchase price is pretty well negotiated. There's a few things that are left out there that Moose Tech was going to purchase some IP address blocks, and this company has some that they will provide to us for free. So there's very, very small things that need to be worked out, but there's a couple things that need to be worked out yet. This is the biggest thing that the city council needs to do, though.
What are you asking?
To
for
approve the
council?
lease.
This lease?
This lease.
Wouldn't the sale have to happen first?
We won't sign this lease with them until the sale is done, but it's pretty well done, so.
City
The
council?
agreement doesn't go into effect until they own the wireless network, obviously.
So open to the city council discussion and/or motion.
Question. So if the sale didn't go through, this would just be, we
Right.
just wouldn't sign it, just.
Right.
Make a motion to approve the site lease agreement as provided in our packet.
I'll second it.
I
Discussion.
should ask for any further discussion or questions.
Yes, just that Tim, outstanding job on this, and thank you for all your hard work. Very, very satisfied.
Just a quick question for commission. When will this come to the commission for final? Well, I guess I asked that and you're waiting
Yep.
to hear from the lawyer then.
You know, again, it has to be soon, you know, but I don't know how soon. I hate to put a date out there.
All right. Very good.
Need a vote on that one.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose?
Abstain.
Pardon?
Abstain, vote.
Abstain? One abstention, okay. Motion carried.
Can I ask one thing? The city council has final say on whether or not the sale goes through. Does the city council want to wait until Water and Light has finalized that, or give approval pending Water and Light finalizing it? I know the details of it. There's nothing that I would say that would hang the city council up on this. Frankly, so long as they continue to provide the service. That was, my understanding was the biggest thing that we as a city wanted, and they offered that and more. So,
I think the commission, myself, should make that vote and come to, even if we need to do a special city
That's fine.
council meeting.
That's fine.
I'd prefer to do it that way, so that it goes through the commission first.
And again, just why I'm so vague is because we're negotiating for bandwidth with different companies. So, you know, that's going to, who would know how long that's going to take, but we hope shortly. It won't take too long.
okay. Sounds good.
Thank you. Under new business, 6B peddler's permit.
So in the city, the way that it's working right now is if somebody wants to go door to door and sell, they come in and get a peddler's permit. They also get a peddler's permit for like agate days where they just set up at a certain location and people come to them. It's defined a little bit differently when they come to them, but the type of peddler's permit that I'd like to talk about tonight is where people go door to door. What I would like is, I would like us not to do that anymore, not allow it at all. I don't know that we've had a good experience. We've had people that are less pushy than other people, but this last round, were they in the community for 5 minutes before we started getting phone calls? And it was a lot. And it was immediate. What I have on the table is, first, and an ordinance from 1937 called the Green River Anti-Peddlers Ordinance, which Green River is the first city that passed this ordinance that basically banned people going door to door without permission. It still allows people to sell door to door that are invited, so they can set up meetings if they'd like. They can leave, for instance, the way that it was kind of proposed in the league's memo on this is they can leave door knockers, but they cannot go knock on people's doors. So they can leave their business card, they can do things like that and set up meetings, but they cannot go door to door selling anything. Now, we would still allow people to set up tables and sell for agate days or any flea markets, things like that. Those things are still allowed under this, but this stops people from going in and upon private residences. We have an ordinance that came later. It came in 1982, and it does a better job of defining what a peddler, solicitor, transient merchant, and all of those things. It does not say that it repeals the previous ordinance.
Fantastic, yeah.
So, if you're okay with it, I would just like to, on your behalf, follow this ordinance and not allow peddlers to go door to door.
Does the newer, excuse me, go ahead, Chris.
Now, this will not ban, say, the Cub Scouts or the,
That's what we're talking about. So I think we will need to have an understanding with our police department that football cards or baseball cards or, I mean, things like that, we're just going to have to work with the community a little bit. This is not meant for that.
I just want to make sure that, because they're,
That was the biggest issue brought up with the Green River anti-peddlers thing, was that it stops some legal businesses. I'm not going to say that people are not going to have an issue with this, because I think they might. But no court case has ever said that this ordinance is illegal. Nor have they ever won a court case against this. It's just, generally, cities have tried to manage it the way that we do, through licensing, through permitting, and through things like that. And we have a prime example right now of they called before they came, they bought a month-long permit, they all filled out the permit, they all passed the background check, they all paid, they did exactly what we asked of them, and they were horrible. So this is in an effort to stop that.
So you're looking at enforcing the ordinance that is already on the books, that has not been voted down.
It is,
Taken
yeah.
out of the book.
Yep, so the newer ordinance number 108, specifically says what it repeals, and it repeals ordinance number 9, which the ordinance that I'd like to enforce is ordinance number 30. So this is a change from how we do things now, and I just want you guys to be aware that this is how I would like to enforce this.
I guess two things from me. I guess one would be, it's already in the book. I guess we would just be confirming that as a council. The second thing, in the interim, why don't we rewrite this so it's all one ordinance?
The Green River anti-peddlers ordinance is still the ordinance that we would use. It is, if you look it up on the league's website, that is still the ordinance that people use.
This was passed the 7th day of September, 1937.
And the reason that it's still used is not because it was so brilliant. It's very, very simple. It's only to stop people to go door to door that are not invited. So it doesn't stop all the other things that we already allow. It only stops the door-to-door salesman. There are groups that can legally go door-to-door without our permission, and this does not stop them.
We got to put up with politicians.
Politicians, religious organizations, things like that, those do not fall under this. Salesmen do, though.
Okay, so this is informational and there's no action needed, because it's already existing ordinance.
It is, I'd just like to make sure that you guys are still okay with it. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Would you like to do a
Yeah.
consensus then?
Yes.
I agree with that.
Mr. Mayor, I had a
Yes.
question. Do we want to up the teeth in here, because it's a $25 fine and not more than 100?
You guys
that
pulled them
a
over
deterrent
today.
enough?
They called 10 minutes later. They're pretty knowledgeable about the fact that if we don't allow it, we don't allow it. That's why they call ahead. I mean, we're not the only community that doesn't allow this stuff, so I don't know if we
Is
need to
that
go
enough teeth
farther
to
than
make
that.
sure it works, or?
I think so.
Okay.
I think it also says it might be a misdemeanor, so, I mean, frankly, if we want to go,
So, okay.
It does.
Yeah, I have consensus for me,
If the
myself.
chief shows up, you're probably going to listen.
that's what I think.
Greg?
I agree.
Consensus?
Yes.
You have consensus?
Good enough. Thank you.
Under 6, number C, Kiwanis gambling permit, and that is in our deal.
Mayor, councilors, for you that don't know me, I'm Brian Ketchmark, member of the Kiwanis Club of Moose Lake. And the club would like to hold a little bingo on January 27th in the afternoon, January 27th, 2018. And we're trying to raise funds to help send children to YMCA Camp Miller. We've got a couple members on the Kiwanis Club. One is a board of director on the board at YMCA Camp Miller, and the other member of the Kiwanis Club works there. And it's come to our attention that there are a lot of children out there that families can't afford to send to camp. So we thought it would be a good idea. Why don't we do something to help raise funds to help some children go to camp? So we were looking at a bingo event, and it'd be for adults from like 1 to 4 in the afternoon on Saturday the 27th. We're planning on holding it up at the Sioux Line Event Center. And we'd also like to have a bartender from the city of Moose Lake, and we know that would be for a fee. We understand that. So we would like to get your approval to hold the bingo event on the January 27th of 2018.
If I might, in your packets on page 57 is not the application to conduct bingo for them. The one in your packet is from the Knights of Columbus.
Okay.
My suggestion is if you want to approve this, approve it pending that they fill out this form, and then, unless he's got it right there, in which
got it
case
here.
then I can sign that one.
That was my question next.
Yep.
Is how do we get the form signed in? Does the city issue a permit?
Nope, this is it right here.
That is it?
That's it.
The state will take that?
Yep.
Okay.
Is that Super Bowl day, 27th? Or
January 27th.
Is that the Super Bowl then, that day, or?
No.
Saturday.
No,
That's,
that's in
Monday night.
February.
Oh, that's Monday night, okay.
I'll make a motion that we approve the application for bingo for the Kiwanis on January 27th, 2018.
I'll second it.
Any further question, discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carried.
Thank
Do
you.
we need anything for the bartender from the council?
You guys work that one out?
Yeah, you just would work with them.
Go to talk to Mark at the Muni and he'll take care of it.
Okay, so that'd be, just talk to Mark.
Talk to Mark.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That was awful simple.
Moving on to 6D, Knights of Columbus gambling permit, and that's on page 57. Are you taking the lead on that?
A long time.
Other than they want to basically do the same thing. They'd like to hold bingo. They're the ones that basically always host the bingo and have all the bingo equipment and, yeah.
Is this a specific day?
January 22nd, 2017, which must be 18, I guess.
Make a motion that we accept this.
I'll second it.
Any further question, discussion?
Just make sure that date is changed.
Yep.
No other questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carried. Under new business, 6F, Bill Carlson letter.
Do you want to do E?
Go to chamber.
Did I miss one?
Yeah.
Sorry, Bill, I'm one off.
Takes me a while to get out.
6E, chamber request, Hinckley Visitors Guide. Thank you for showing me that.
There's a letter in your packet on page 59 from the chamber requesting $1,200 for the 2018 Hinckley Visitor Guide. In the past, we have paid the same amount for the full-page ad in the Hinckley Visitors Guide.
Council?
I'll make a motion that we give the $1,200 with a request to the chamber that they come up with a bill for the year and give us one bill so we can actually do a budget. That's my motion.
You do realize then the money would not come out of the gambling fund, it would come out of the...
If there's an exception, but I'm just saying for the other things that we give to the chamber, I would like, so we could actually budget for it, since we haven't done that yet.
Just to clarify, where's the money coming out of?
The gambling fund.
It's 1,200.
What is the balance in that?
11,000 some.
Okay, so there's
Yeah.
plenty to cover then? Okay. Yeah, I'd like to see a yearly total too as to what we've given to the chamber.
A yearly total of what we've given, or a yearly total of what they're requesting?
Well, I think it's the
Kind of a-
same things every year.
I mean, they asked the same, they asked
It just
the,
seem- we keep doing this and every month going over it and over it and over it. Just, if it's assumed that we're going to be giving to the chamber, which is a great cause, let's just have a yearly budget and then we don't have to keep doing this every month.
okay.
And Chris, your second, you seconded it?
Yes.
Correct, as stated. Okay. Any further questions, discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Oppose? Motion carried. Thank you. Excuse me, Bill, now I'm at 6E. Bill Carlson letter.
Bill's letter starts on page 62 and goes onto page 63 as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Shaw and city councilors. I know the last time a couple times you saw me, I swore I never want to come back. But I am back. And the reason that I am back is I'm not trying to promote technology anymore. I'm specifically asking every member of the city council, why did you choose not to use this technology? And that's basic what the presentation that you have before you comes from. It's hard to believe that it was 6 years ago that we started this project. I believe it was in July of 2011. We had a memorandum of understanding, a group of local citizens that were willing to contribute to getting this system up and running. We wanted to change it from an analog system to a digital system. And we got the approval, and we were ready to go. And then, as a lot of you know, that in 2012, when we had the flood, it really exposed the inadequacy of the system. And therefore, we put it on a fast track to get this thing up and running. One of the motivations on the committee, and of course those of you know what I'm talking about, is that if you have a family member that is extremely active in the community, and for physical reasons and mental reasons they can't go out to these events, why can't the city put those events on Channel 7 so they could watch them on Channel 18. Very simple request, okay? The technology was designed to allow that to work. We knew it was too big for one entity like the city to handle, so the system was designed to be community-wide, which means originally we have 5 different sites that could remotely put this information on the channel. So if something was happening at the school, they could put it on the channel. And if something was happening at the Historical Society, they could put this on. They didn't have to physically bring it down to the city anymore. It is all, the technology is there. And that's basically what it states on the bottom here, is that anything that can be posted on social media, which of course where most of us are talking about Facebook, right, can be posted on the local access channel without being concerned about broadband limits. So there is no reason why both can't coexist. It's in place. It goes on in the next paragraph, the past commitments. There's coming up, obviously in 2018 is a big year for Moose Lake. And the community-wide effort is needed to complete the upgrades of the local access channel before this deadline. That's why I'm here. And I'll let Steve talk about that a little later if he wants to. This is huge. This is the type of programming that needs to be broadcast on the local Channel 7 and local Channel 18. And I'll explain how simple it is to do that, and why the city chose not to use this technology is beyond me. The franchise agreement has a joint powers agreement in it. And that joint powers agreement we established some 35 years ago allows the city to take the role as a facilitator and to use the subscriber fees that are coming, or the franchise fees that are coming from Windermere Township and Moose Lake Township, and use those as the resource to make all of this happen. So we're not asking for a dime to come out of the local taxpayers. That money is available for you to use, and in the past it was used specifically for this purpose. And I said 3 years ago, this project was taken over by the city. And if most of you remember the firestorm that happened over this art sculpture out here. Part of that art sculpture was supposed to have a monitor on it. And the theme that we use is reflections from the past enhance the vision for the future. So the sculpture itself reflects the past. The monitor was supposed to bring in the future. At that point, we were ready to go. The system was tested, and it worked. The beauty of this system is that you can put announcements on the cable channel 7, but you can also use the internet. That's why the two can coexist. Okay? And it works. So in other words, you go out to that monitor outside. If you flip it on to Channel 7, you'll see what's being broadcast on the cable. If you switch it over to the computer monitor, then you can see what's available on the computer side. The beauty of that system is if there was something going on in a community, in this facility that you just wanted to broadcast in this facility, you do that on the computer side. If you want the whole community to see it, you put it on the cable side. You're going to have to go a long ways to find a system that can do this. Mayor Shaw knows what I was talking about. We actually worked with the owner and developer of the Clear One system, and we had a whole number of teleconferencing calls. And the question always, what does the city want to do? And I think we explained what we were trying to do. And then, of course, he wanted to assure us that their system was capable of doing it. And then they recommended we use the ABI system. So the ABI system established it. Like I said, we tested it. Then we had the first session when we brought in all of the people in the community that wanted to use this system for the initial training. And basically what they did is, and you can still see it on the channel, they had their title slide. And then they would be allowed to follow up with their own announcements. Example, the chamber could do that, the historical society could do that. And then all of a sudden the decision was made by the city that we were no longer could communicate. Everything had to go through the former city administrator's office. Would in effect cut us off completely. We were ready to take all that input that we're going to get throughout the community, and as part of that dedication, we were going to showcase what could do. And we were going to bring in the local artists. And here it refers to an agreement that we have with the legacy grant, that we should be able to put that, showcase what the local artists are going to do. And, that's where it's, and so we had that agreement. The other thing that really bothered me is on May 2nd, 2007, the ordinance says that we can, every 3 years, you can have a periodic evaluation session. At that session, it's designed so that if there is, at that session, the subscribers were supposed to be there, okay, the city was supposed to be there, and MediaCom was supposed to be there. And then you look at what was in the ordinance, and if something wasn't working properly, that was a forum that you used to get it right. And I don't want to talk about that meeting. Walt and I were the only ones there. It was only posted, example, on a legal in the Star Gazette. This, you're talking about subscribers, and it wasn't even posted on Channel 7. And so we went there. There was not a elected official there. And when we questioned what was the reason for this, and maybe Tim can address that after I'm done, I guess he was going to compile a report, feed that to MediaCom. I've never seen it. I don't know what happened. And the reason, one of the things that you're going to see me talk about right now is that problem that we have on Channel 7 right now. It shouldn't be an argument whether that's the city's problem or it's MediaCom's problem. That meeting should address that, and it should have been corrected. And I know for a fact I could correct it very quickly if I had to. It's a simple fix. So that's where we're talking about this current status. That city digital messaging system has never reached its full potential. Currently, it's operating at its lowest level. It's 6 years ago, it was much more dynamic than it is right now. If you look at that picture right now, and this is what I'm talking about, that picture is formatted wrong. It looks like, I don't know, it's a cross between the old analog, which was a 3:4 ratio, or a new system that's using, I think, is a 16:9 ratio. That picture is too tall, too wide. I don't mind, it makes me look taller and skinnier. But if you watch the pictures, you're so distorted. You can't believe it. And the other thing that by using this wrong format is that I think it's affecting the sound. And I won't go into the technology from the old. I can tell you exactly what's happening. In other words, there's video on the carrier system, but there's also audio, and it's distorted so bad. There's no sound, and there has been no sound on this local access channel for over a month. And basically what I would do is when I would go visit Carol, this was always on, because they liked the background music. And then when there was a picture that came on, an example of the Methodist Church, I use that as a way to communicate with Carol. I can say, hey, Carol, remember this is right across the street from where we live. It's not shown at Augustana at all now. There's no sound. Okay, and the pictures are so distorted. And you can easily assess what I'm doing well. If anybody is watching at home, just go down to channel 6, and all of a sudden that whole format will change. Okay? So I don't know where this is coming from. I don't know whose is the problem. It's not the digital messaging system. It's either the modulator, the subload here, or it's MediaCom problem. But we're never able to address it. The other thing that you need to understand, and if Rory's got attention, would you switch the camera? This camera that's on me now is a digital camera that is a live free. If you look at this camera right now, this is a web-based camera. For some reason, this camera, which was a digital camera, has been replaced with this web-based camera. And you can see you don't have to be a discerning viewer that quality is not equal to what was on the digital camera. So I'm going to address whatever happened to those cameras that were taken out of here. And those are the three issues. They can coexist, both systems can coexist. You got to get the format of this channel straightened around. We can ask a local artist to put, in other words, if you go to Facebook account, you can see beautiful pictures that people are posting on the Moose Lake, Minnesota Laker site. Those pictures could be put on this channel. We would not ask anybody to put those pictures on this channel because we would distort them so bad. So that's not available to us anymore. So that's what I'm referring to as on the current status. And, you know, I guess it even, and I addressed this before, it even upsets me when the city won't officially post notices on Channel 7. If you're somebody in my position, it's always interesting. I get a phone call from my kids who don't live in town anymore, asking me what's going on in Moose Lake. And you know, I give them an answer. Well, my daughter will explain it's on Facebook. In other words, when we had the flood a couple years last year, all that information is on Facebook. I don't know what's going on. And then she will direct me how to go to my Facebook account, search through it, and I'll say, oh, there it is. That's not necessary. And I'm going to point by who's more important, that my children, you know, which I appreciate the fact they can follow what's going on in Moose Lake. But why can't I, as a taxpayer, and paying $10 a month franchise fees so I can see this stuff on Channel 7? And you won't, as a city, you won't even post it. I just don't understand. So what you need to do is you need to look at the Appendix A, which it refers to. And of course, the first two things I already talked about, which are non-costly fixes, easy fixes, okay? And I addressed before that there should be 5 locations. It has its own server, and then there are 5 sites that were chosen in the community that could post those things automatically. And we don't do it. In other words, that's what I was talking about. The city said, no, we're not going to do that. The other thing that you should allow for live broadcasts at selected sites. When we first go back, and some of you remember, we could broadcast from 6 different locations in town. The only place you can broadcast right now is from here. The city has not enforced that these new facilities, the public, what I call public facilities, have this capability anymore. And one of the things that I want to talk about, and this goes to the Historical Society Event Center, they're going to have a play, right, Steve, that Dan Reed is going to present?
That was last week,
Was that the one last week?
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
It's still on Channel 7.
It's not on Channel 7.
The date is.
The date is, yes, but what I'm talking about,
The events still have a play from 2 weeks ago. And some bunch of stuff from September. I looked at it, it's probably getting down here. Half the announcements on there are last week. The current on there, you can't really see it anyway. So.
So, I'm sorry that I'm not surprised that I didn't miss it, because I never see it on Channel 7. Basically, the only reason I look at Channel 7 is to find out, did they fix it yet? And then I go on to something else. But that play that was produced up there at the Historical Society, the program should have been on Channel 7 constantly. And then when it was over, you could update them. They should have broadcasted that play, if they had Dan Reed's consent, live. And if you couldn't see it live, then you would go to Channel 18 and you would see playbacks of it. In other words, it could be running tonight, actually. What a beautiful opportunity. And if you think of all these kinds of events that are going to happen in 2018, only thing I can say to you as a city council, shame on you. The Historical Society, when I was ousted, along with most of the other members of the committee 3 years ago, I stopped up and I talked to Steve and Natalie up there, and I needed to find out if anything happened. Nothing has happened in that Historical Society technology since 3 years ago. Everything is there. They have the same capabilities up there to produce programming that you have right here. The only thing that was missing is a camera, one of these PTZ cameras. And I know those cameras were removed and replaced by these web-based cameras. Whatever happened to the cameras? They were purchased by the public access. Why aren't they up there? They're ready to go. The other thing that is a problem is they have a DVR, it's a Pelco system, which they can use to control these cameras. And there was a need in the community, so they borrowed that Pelco camera. And then when the last thing I did when I went back, and I said, "Do you ever get that Pelco DVR matrix system switcher back?" And they said, "Yeah, the box is here." They showed me the box. Guess what I saw when I opened up the box? Is this old 3M surveillance system that can only sequence. You can't control cameras with it. And I knew it would happen. Whoever had the nice Pelco gun said, "Well, why would we switch that back and go to our old 3M? Let's put it in a box and give it to the Historical Society." I just don't understand that. And then, of course, the whole building has been wired. And, there's a public safety issue for all event systems. And I won't go into details because I don't want that public, what that thing is capable of doing. But it's less than $3,000 to improve that security system. And nothing's happened. It's all set, ready to go. Nothing's happened. The other thing that is, I have a problem with is this next one, the Moose Lake Community School. Ted Shaw knows what I'm talking about. That Lisa Anderson Reed had a meeting for the Technology Committee, right? And Ted was there, and Superintendent Indahar was there. And we were going to renew this cooperative agreement. And when we left that facility, the city was going to provide them in the old school the equipment to test it out. We had gotten a grant from the Carleton County Community Planning Grant to pay for the equipment. So we were going to we said we would give them the equipment, they would install it, they had a year to test it, to find out if it worked, okay? Do you know what happened? We were going to broadcast every day live the construction of that building. We couldn't get the pole up to mount the camera. A simple little power pole. What happens is that individuals in the system all of a sudden say, "We're not going to do that," and it doesn't happen. It was never tested. If you look at Channel 18 right now, and thank God Roy does what he does, there's a concert on Channel 18 that came out of the new auditorium at the school. And a tremendous facility. We think about what we're trying to do in those facilities. And I asked Roy specific questions. Everything that he needs to do a in-house production is there. But, you know, you have to excuse them because it's a brand-new school. People aren't quite used to how to use that equipment. But they had a whole year, last year, to know how to use that equipment. And it should, you know, there should have been a cooperative effort between the city and the school, and it did not happen, okay? Riverside Arena, I won't talk about that too much, because I think they're going on their own. They're putting in their own system, and they're not going to be part of, I don't see them being part of the community-wide system, so. Complete Phase 2. This is a community-wide digital broadband network. And we had, a few years ago, everybody on the staff had to take the FEMA training. And this is what we identified that we needed after that training. And I'm looking at Mike. He knows what I'm talking about. We had 3 sessions. He was one of the instructors. Okay? And for some one reason or another, that hasn't ever happened. And I'm looking at Greg Sarvala, because a few years back, we had a joint planning commission, which Greg was the chair of that planning commission with the city council. He was also on the Water and Light Commission. And what they needed is they needed a place to build a what you guys are selling, service building, okay? And what an ideal location, we said, was right up here where the water tower is. And it was decided that that facility would be changed from tank to tech. And then Greg had the original sketches, and then we knew that the Northeast Service Corp was bringing full fiber into town, and they used their architect to do a rendition of what that building would look like. The other thing that we needed to do at that time was to complete what we used to call the fiber ring around town that would connect all of these facilities. In other words, the Emergency Response Center, obviously, is going to be the command center. This was going to be the communications center. Riverside Arena was going to be the first responder rally point, supply depot, and the Historical Society was going to be provide the volunteer center. You know, wouldn't it be nice if they had a kitchen, so if they did happen, they could feed those people? I had to throw that in, Steve. Anyway, there was an agreement, and everything was ready to go. The Water and Light Commission verbally said that they would pay half of the cost if the city would match half of the cost. And then basically what, when I was on the city council at the time, a resolution was made that I could go down to the state and lobby for that money. And we did get a change in the LGA formula. The LGA formula used to have a restriction that you had to be a population of 5,000 or more. So Moose Lake didn't qualify to be a job center. We got that wavered. And therefore we became a job center because you know the number of jobs that are in this community. And it was a substantial increase in the LGA funds. The other thing on the lobbying effort, and thanks to Tony Laurie for all he did, is we knew that the state kind of stuck the city on bonding costs for things that were directly used by the state. And then, of course, lo and behold, we went down there and there was a nice check waiting for you, wasn't there? So that money was there. Everything is ready to go. And then, for some reason, the city wouldn't allocate a dime. And I haven't heard much about whatever happened to that. The other thing that happened, and I'm interested when you're talking about permitting, the Water and Light had put the fiber, they followed the transmission line between the north and the south sub. So all we needed to do was have Northeast Service follow the distribution corridor. And we had our fiber loop, you know, and it wouldn't have cost the city, you know, other than what the Water and Light paid for, that wouldn't have cost them a cent. And anyway, when you talk about permitting, when I saw they were putting the flags out, and I stopped the construction engineer, and I said, "You're going the wrong direction." And he said, No, he said, we got the permit. He said, we wouldn't do it if we didn't get a permit. The city signed a permit allowing them to take the shortest route through town, effectively eliminating the fiber optic system. The other thing, we were going to put the fiber optic switching center in that old pump house. And the city was already remodeling it and getting it up to condition. And then the city said, well, you don't have to do that. They allowed Northeast Service Corp to put a fiber vault in the ground there instead of making those connections in that building. So it would have been a beautiful access point for the fiber throughout the community. And, I guess I really am saying enough except on phase 3. Thank God for Rory Buckowitz. Everything you see on Channel 18 comes from Rory. And this was phase 3 of the program. We wanted to put in an automated multiple broadcasts of previously recorded programming on Channel 18. You are requiring Roy, who gives it a tremendous amount of time videotaping and editing, have to physically come down here and put that on a DVD player. And the technology doesn't require that anymore. Follow your commitment. And I would say right now, if I was sitting in your seat, I would say let's give Rory the authority to find out what kind of a system that is needed, and let's install it. And if you don't use Channel 7, fine. But at least you can get programming on Channel 18. Channel 7 should be designated, if you don't follow through with this, as a religious channel. The 3 churches obviously stayed course, right? And they're broadcasting every weekly live on Channel 7. Where the city doesn't have that capability. I probably said enough, but if you don't feel that you can fix it, then that's where you see a penny and me. Put out a survey and find out if the community wants to save Channel 7. And if they say, no, Facebook is good enough, then I say, well, fine. We will honor. I have no problems following majority rule. But you can't let it continue on the way it is right now. And the only last thing I need to say, because my good neighbor Walt Lauer is here, when I talk about formatting, if you ever talked to Walt, you should. I would wonder how many times, Walt, have you changed the screens in the theater to meet the new format? You would be surprised, I'm sure. And then when you look at, and I know Walt understands, I understand, and I know Mike would understand, when we talked about a carbon arc, right? From your old welding days, right? That is what the light source was from the old projector system way back when. Right now, they have upgraded to a projector very similar to what you have, an LCD projector right here. And so what a accomplishment that this town has a family so dedicated that they keep that little theater running. And if you look at, I don't know because I don't want to get that deep, and Walt can answer it. I would assume he's one of the 5 most users of broadband. Okay, because the fiber goes right behind the theater. That fiber was put in there because there was a policy rule made that any time there's an extended opening of sidewalk or street, we were supposed to put conduit in so that you could put the fiber in. That's why when the streetscape project went down 4th Street, that's why that conduit was run there. And then every time I struggle through town and I go up to 73 and I see the whole sidewalk was torn out. Did you put a conduit in there? You had an easy route, right? To run that fiber up to the Historical Society and then pour the sidewalk over the top and you wouldn't even disrupted it. Never happened. And I don't know what's happening here on 3rd Street. I did read somewhere that you're bringing fiber to the Muni, but that fiber was supposed to extend all the way down to the bridge and go up Lakeside. I don't see that happening, so. Anyway, I want to thank Ted. He was with us from day one, right? And I guess I can say you're the last man standing. I'm here trying to stand on only one leg. But Ted was with us from day one and supportive on every aspect of this system from day one. The other thing that I watched, the other night I watched that movie, history movie on fire and ice about the Korean War, and it ended up when McCarthy gave that farewell speech, and I did send an apology to the city and to Mayor Shaw, say, I accept my responsibility for putting the city into the predicament it is, but you also have to set yours. And then I like that statement that McCarthy and everybody knows, it's famous, right? Old soldiers never die, they just fade away. And so I'm fading away. So thank you for the support over all these years.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
So hopefully you will speak so that I know before I leave what your position as individual councilors are on what I just covered. And then I can live with that.
The knowledge that you carry with us from beginning till now is invaluable. And as things progressed after you left, the knowledge wasn't there, and things changed.
Knowledge isn't there, but if those of you who know me, I wasn't the know-it-all, right?
No.
And Ted is a knowledge. We had connections. So if I needed something changed, it was a phone call away.
Yeah.
Most of those connections, those people were within here down to 2 or 3 days.
Right.
I didn't fix it.
Right. And I know all these things can still happen. And I think the council, we have to look at the technology director position. That's where it all has to come from. There has to be a central point of direction, someone to control it, and someone to point us in the right direction of the vision that was there. But it's something that came up a couple of meetings ago, and we have yet to look at it. We just haven't done that yet.
You'll see in the presentation that we had it was a turnkey project with the EBI system.
Right. Right.
Renew that, have them come up and give you an estimate of what it would take to get this thing up and running. You don't have to place blame on any one individual, because
Right.
there are alternatives.
Right. Thank you. Comments by the council?
Just thank Bill for the presentation. There's a lot of things I learned.
Thank you.
I agree. I wasn't aware of a lot of that stuff, and I really think we need to fix it.
Thank you. With that, I will move on to 6G, Minnesota House Capital Bonding Committee.
Just an update that the House Bonding Committee came down to the arena a couple of weeks ago to view the project that we submitted. Just a reminder, we submitted a $1.2 million project to the state for the expansion of the arena. So we gave a little bit of a presentation, gave them a little book presentation to take with them, gave them a tour, and thanks to the mayor and the Hockey Association and Guile, I think we did a pretty good job, and hopefully we'll have some success this upcoming year.
Also, thank you, Tim. You did an excellent job putting together the package that they reviewed and the submission, and presented himself very well to the bonding committee. Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to 6H, downtown business additions and updates.
Well, now that it came out in the paper, I guess it's official. Thrifty White is going to be building new store right along the grocery store there. They ran into some similar issues that the credit union ran into, and that the soil is contaminated down there, and so they had to do a little additional soil work. But right along that downtown corridor there will be two new facilities, 2 new buildings going up yet this fall. I think it's probably worth pointing out so that hopefully Phil stops talking about it in my office. It is not Phil's fault with the water stuff. Yeah, there you are, shaking your head. The two new facilities needed to tap into our water main. We had hoped prior to the new road going in. One, we were able to get done. We got the credit union done. Thrifty White is yet to tap into the water main, and we are hoping that they will do so prior to the final lift of pavement going on 73. There's quite a few sections that need to get torn out of the new pavement right along that section, so it really wouldn't be that odd that it's tore up right there, but hopefully we will get that done. But that does not have anything at all to do with our water department, though. That's on the business to schedule that, to dig that, and get that going. So
Can we push that? Boy, I'd hate to get that done, and the first thing we do is dig it up. My gosh.
we pushed. We got 50% of the way there. We'll get it done.
I say we get it done. We don't want to dig that up.
We're working on it. Yep.
Get them a hand pump if they had to go. I got to dig up that new road and sidewalk and curbing, and after all these years of waiting for it, my gosh.
I think they're going to dig it up anyhow. They're still going to have to dig it up because it's already done on that side, the sidewalk.
Yeah, that's what I mean, though. There's quite a few sections of pavement right there that need to get tore up anyways. Sidewalk is simple. Pavement is where we're trying to avoid.
Problematic.
I think we need a real strong message to them. Get it done now, before they leave town, period.
Yep.
Thank you. Council, any?
I agree.
My goodness.
Yep.
Before we move on, Bill and Walter, definitely welcome to stay. If you want to make an exit, you certainly can. And
I give it just a little historical tidbit.
sure.
If you remember when we took over Elm Street
Yes.
and the condition that the county repaved it, and we needed to run the underground between the post office
Yes.
and the church, so they bored it. The auger came right up through the middle of the street. I've never seen great old Mayor Hartman so upset. He said, "You didn't even last 3 days."
And they were digging.
So we haven't learned, so thanks.
Thank you, sir. Wait till Bill has a second here. Thank you again, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Six I, health insurance update, set special meeting.
Yeah, we can review plan options and rates from the benefit provider, Flexible Benefit Consulting. They went out and got bids from a number of different places. the 18th of this month, we should have some information from the Teamsters on what the 2018 plan looks like. So there's some dates here that work for Sam from Flexible Benefits that I'm hoping that you guys can take a look at and let me know if those work for at least the majority of you, and we can start hopefully moving forward with something.
Should we look at the 23rd, 24th, 25th?
Probably not the 25th, as we might have a grand opening for Highway 73 that day.
Tuesday's the better one for me.
Tuesday?
When would this be, about in the afternoon earlier?
4 to 6 is what I asked for. If you want to do it during the day, that'd be great.
Tuesday's out for me.
Excuse me?
Tuesday's out for me. I work nights and I have a night shoot, so night qualification.
What time is that at?
4 o'clock.
4? Okay.
23rd's open, but if you have a majority that makes the 24th, that's fine too.
The 23rd would be fine for me as well.
I would have to leave early. I've got a meeting at 6 Monday.
Okay, if we're 2 hours into a health insurance meeting, I might follow you out.
Try for the 23rd.
23rd?
All 3 days are skeptical.
Okay. Chris?
23rd works for me.
23rd, let's do the 23rd. I'll set that up.
We're going 4, are we keeping the time 4 to 6?
Yep. And hopefully the Teamsters has their information, but we'll see.
Good.
Thank you.
Yes.
Moving on to 6J Spook House Project donation request. And that is on page 67. They're requesting $100 for the following event, which is a spook house and trunk or treat, which will be set up on October 28th and down in the park, in the parking lot.
I'll make a motion that we approve the donation to the City Spook House Project for $100.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Is that the same day as the zombie walk? I think we should all just give a shout out to Bryce, who's our new judge for the zombie walk, the head judge of the zombie walk this year. Nice job, Bryce.
Thank you, Bryce.
All right. 6K, Paula Arnold resignation.
She rescinded this at the park board, so I think if you guys don't vote for it, she's set a precedent for rescinding it already.
But we would have to change the city council meeting from Wednesdays.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Council?
Oh, she didn't rescind it?
No,
She's shaking
we
her
need
head.
to approve the,
Motion to approve.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose?
So much.
Very good job.
Yeah, thanks for the years of service. Appreciate it, Paula. And thanks for staying with the park board. It has to be the way you ask, Tim.
that's ridiculous.
We understand, Paula.
Thank you. 6L, full-time police officer position.
Right now, and you can come up and speak on this too. Right now, we have 2 part-time officers that fill a full-time officer position. Through years of making it work, it's kind of coming to the point where now would be an excellent time to just fill that slot with a full-time person. I think having a full-time officer added to this group fills all of our shifts. If we have vacation and things like that, we can still fill a shift here and there. But this will make scheduling much easier. It will make the department full and will really make a world of difference. So The Personnel Committee discussed it. Their recommendation is that we move forward with hiring a full-time police officer. My recommendation is very, very, very much the same thing. I pretty much talked to Bryce about it when I first came here. That was my thought, was we needed to fill that one as well. And Bryce is requesting the same thing. So if you have any specific questions, Bryce can probably answer those better. But other than that, I'm asking that we move forward with hiring another full-time police officer.
Open it up for discussion by the council.
I guess my only statement or question would be that you obviously, having been in there, in your office, seen so many postings for overtime, I take it this would help alleviate the overtime and make it more economical, possibly, to have a full-time person.
Yeah, I think it's hard to get a part-timer that's available that doesn't have another job.
Plus, you have uniforms out there and equipment out there for a lot of other people.
Yeah, we can pretty much equip a new hire.
So, are you looking at doing this in-house, or?
We would post it internally and externally at the
Okay.
same time, but we'll post it everywhere and just see what kind of candidates we get.
What is our timeline if approved tonight, just so the council is aware of what we're looking at?
Well, I probably run in the newspaper for 2 weeks. Realistically, probably 6 to 8 weeks to get somebody on board.
Okay.
Sound right?
That sounds fast, but I mean, hiring police officers is kind of a
Time-consuming.
pain in the butt, quite frankly. But I mean, we will post it as soon as we possibly can and move on it as fast as we can. So,
Are we also going to post it on the Minnesota Post Board?
We certainly can, sure.
I'd like to see a lot of applicants if we're going to do this.
Yeah, I would too.
So considering paying 2 part-time employees and all their overtime, we're probably close to budget neutral.
pretty close, yep.
And I have spoken to some of the part-timers that are on the list, and it is hard to, for them, because they all pretty much have full-time jobs, it is hard to fill those shifts that we're needing to fill, so
Absolutely.
I do think with all the overtime, this is going to alleviate that, and it's just going to be a smoother for Bryce to get the shifts filled and more reliable. And
Any further discussion and/or motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the hiring of a full-time police officer.
Do I have a second?
Second it.
Any further questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We'll skip this next statement on closing, and we'll go to reports and correspondence, and do we have any other items under that? I don't see anything under correspondence. No. Okay. Going on to number 8, which is committee and board meeting minutes. We do have the regular meeting, Moose Lake Planning Commission, Monday, September 11th at 4 p.m. We also have the minutes for the Moose Lake Park and Recreation. That was October 2nd. And that's all we have under them. Any questions on those minutes? Motion isn't needed. We'll move on then. Committee and board, okay, we got those announcements on the 9. Regular Moose Lake City Council meeting Wednesday, November 8th at 6:30 right here. Moose Lake Water and Light Commission, regular meeting Wednesday, October 18th, Moose Lake Conference Room. Moose Lake Housing and Redevelopment Authority Board on November 13th, 11 a.m., Hillside Manor Office. Moose Lake Fire District, Tuesday, November 7th, 6:30 in Emergency Response Center.
That's the 14th.
14th. Thank you. Huh. Okay.
Always the second
Second Tuesday, thank you.
You moved it.
Moose Lake Park Board, Monday, November 6, 6:30 PM, the City Council and Town Board Chamber. Did I say that right? Right here.
Close enough.
In other words, it's right here on November 6, 6:30. Library Board meeting, November 13th, 4 PM, the City Conference Room. And lastly, Moose Lake Technology Committee, Thursday, November 2nd, 9 a.m., City Conference Room. And do we need a motion to
Need a motion to close,
at
yes.
this time?
Make a motion to close the meeting.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting closed, and we will,
Who seconded that?
who seconded that?
Break, didn't he?
Or Greg? Oh,
So we will go up to the conference room and then close again, open, and then close the regular city council meeting.
There.
yeah, that's what I said before. I thought Greg was sitting there. What's the doodle?
See, I haven't wrecked any wires yet. I gotta go to the little boys' room before I go up there.